This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, saving your day from boredom with the best podcasting entertainment.
Hello and welcome to episode 24 of Too Old to Game, Most Valuable Podcast, mecca of gaming podcasts. I'm your fear-filled host, Dave Oster. I'm joined today by the Mark Weber.
WMEs.
And the original man-child himself, Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys? Glorious day. Sam Raimi is here.
Oh, it's true.
Sam Raimi is here.
We asked, and they delivered.
Well, it was because of our podcast. We talked
I'd like to
about
think
it.
so.
They do listen.
I'd like to think so.
No, they're hearing us. They hear
Insomniac
us,
Gaming.
Mark.
No, they were listening to us. They actually listened and then did.
For those of you who don't know, Insomniac Games did come out and say, we've heard you, and now we've delivered.
Yep.
And the Sam Raimi Spider-Man suit is now available in Spider-Man the video game for free. It's not a DLC. It's just everybody who has the game, you get the suit. Wonderful. And Ricky, you're doing that right now, right?
I already did it.
Oh, you already did it?
I swung around a little bit.
What's the feel?
I look like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. Like I look like Tobey Maguire.
Is it everything you hope for?
I mean, it looks cool. I mean, with me though, I'm not super. It's a glorious day because I love the suit, but I'm not like super like mad because I forgot that the suit that I had was the vintage comic book, like the
Where you look
almost
like
black
crazy.
Yeah, you look like you're out of the comic book. So I was happy with that one.
So how much has this improved your gaming experience?
It looks like I'm Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Like, that's it. Like, I can't wait to play the DLC as Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
It'd be best if you could then take off the mask and be Tobey Maguire.
Or if they could change the voice acting just for that suit to Tobey Maguire.
It would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I thought about that as he's swinging around. I'm like, man, it'd be cool if they could just like, just for this suit, you get Tobey Maguire lines in there.
Yeah,
beautiful.
But today we are going to be hitting into that Fortnite groove like we do every week.
Fortnite, baby.
Talking about that wonderful lawsuit. And then we will give you our 2019 most hyped video games list. It's a top 5 list. We each have one. We're going to discuss all the games, and it's going to be a great time. Hopefully, it's under like 3 hours this time because the room's about 94 degrees in here, and we might melt during the show.
Yep.
But let's get into it, boys. Fortnite, big game. You may have heard of it. Kind of low key right now.
Might have won some awards this year. No big deal.
You probably didn't hear about it. Has been making a lot of money based off of these in-game add-ons. Basically, it's like these little tweaks, either the costumes, the dances, anything that they can do to enhance gameplay without actually changing the gameplay. Good on them in balancing, but they've been kind of plucking things out of pop culture left and right. And notably, the one that got the most attention was the Carlton, made famous by Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I don't know why I want to say French.
Well,
the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Sometimes when you hear that French accent come out of Will Smith's mouth, you're like, you tricked me. You tricked me.
Oh my God. So, he's come out and started the lawsuit. We've heard people being pretty unhappy with their intellectual property being stolen. Donald Faison from Scrubs doing his dance got pulled. Backpack Kid, obviously. There's a handful of these where
and
the
then
dance
2 Milli as well.
2 Milli.
The rapper.
Yep. So there's a handful of these cases where it's just clearly like this is that was that dance there and this is the dance here. You guys took it. You guys didn't consult me, didn't ask for anything. I'm not getting a paycheck out of it. You guys are making bank. Like, first off, I want to start with, do you think that it's right of these people who created these dances or got famous for the dances, made the dances famous, to expect something back?
I don't necessarily know that they should expect something back, because I think if they asked for something, the developers would say, well, we're not going to include that in the game then.
Or we're just going to give it to everyone for free.
Yeah, but I do think that they 100% have rights to say, you shouldn't be making money off of my whatever.
Yeah.
Because if Fortnite had all of a sudden that it starts playing Smells Like Teen Spirit, Nirvana, the remaining 2 members, would be pissed.
Yeah.
Because that
Cobain would be pissed too. Let's be honest.
Yeah, pissed from above or below, whatever you want to say. But, it's just one of those things where that's an obvious one. If you put up a really famous painting, I don't know modern painters. I'm sorry for anybody who's a fan of paintings.
Go old.
Well, I was going to say Van Gogh, but
There
I
you
don't
go.
know if Van Gogh has any surviving members that could collect on stuff.
I'm sure they have an estate.
The estate would be pissed.
Yeah.
So and my very initial reaction was like, you can't copyright a dance. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a dance.
Yeah.
But then I thought about it a little bit more, and I was like, well, what's worse about that art form that music, which I am very familiar with. Actually, everyone in this room is familiar with, but I have copyrighted music.
Yeah,
and,
I'm sorry. You're the expert over there, the artiste.
Right? I have that, and, there's a specific consideration for that. If we started playing clips from our favorite movies in this, or our favorite video games, since the video game podcast, we would probably get in trouble for that. So what makes this dance different?
The only thing I look at, and for me, I'm going to speak basically for Carlton and Backpack Kid. With the 2 milli thing, there might be a little bit of wiggle room for his lawsuit. And the reason why I say that is, like you mentioned, if you come up with the idea and it's 110% yours, you go with it. But the 2 things that I've seen is, first off, Backpack Kid, people have been throwing his way that there's a video from, 2 years before he did it of somebody else doing it. So right there, it's like, it's not yours. You're not the first to do it. You don't own this. Then with Carlton, I think it was a TMZ interview, and I know that the legality of the wording where he says, oh, I stole it from this and this, you could change it to, oh, he meant inspired. The way he said it, though, we don't know for sure then, was it inspired by that? Or were you really saying, hey, I'm going to take this and this and put them together? Because if you're taking those and stealing them, then you're taking 2 separate things, putting them together.
Therefore, adding your own value, and therefore it's yours.
And that's the thing. I don't think with his, if it's going to be that easy to say,
you would take stealing that literally. I mean, there's been artists themselves who have said that they steal from their favorite bands and stuff like that, and their inspirations, and they don't mean that. Yeah, I just played the same Beatles riff. They mean they were inspired by it. I mean, the first thing that came to my mind from bands that I listened to in high school, Say Anything's like only real member. Max Bemis talked about stealing guitar sounds and stealing tone and stuff like that. Yeah, and it doesn't mean that he stole that. He just means he's influenced by it. Now that's actually copyright. You're actually stealing something
Mark.
From that.
One is dun 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 dun. The other one is dun 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 dun.
Right.
Dun dun dun. There's a pause in that, Mark.
Exactly.
It's different.
Pauses are important. But it's one of those type of things where it's like, what you say and what you actually mean are significant and important.
And the thing, like, the one that I'm super, like, the way I'm looking at this is 2 milli I'm interested about to see how his lawsuit goes through. Carlton, I'm kind of sitting there going, yeah, you know what? If Fortnite wasn't famous, would you give a crap? Like, if it wasn't the highest grossing...
If they weren't making hundreds of thousands of dollars off of your like this in a video game?
At that point. And then, like, the one I have a problem with for sure is Backpack Kid, because he's even on the record for... TMZ has asked him, like, oh, what did you... Because he's played Fortnite at, like, the E3 Pro-Am, and he's like, oh, well, and they have it right here. It's not a big deal to me if I get paid for it. I'm just glad that it's in the game. It's like, how are you going then from that to, hey, I want to get paid because my dance is in the game?
Easily. You realize how much money they were making off of you.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter that yesterday you thought it was cool and today you want to get paid. You want to get paid because it belongs to you. And I understand that his particular case is a little muddy on whether it belongs to him or not.
Yeah.
But you could also go kind of with that step further with it and say that it doesn't really matter that the second somebody, any artist, and someone might get mad at us, but we're going to use the term loosely for someone like Backpack Kid.
Yeah.
But any artist, when they decide they want to get paid, they deserve to be paid. And I don't think there should ever be any expectations that you don't owe an artist for their work.
I just think it's so, like, it kind of brings in the same in our kind of realm of things. I just think back to when I was at VidCon on the fair use panel. Yeah. And one of the biggest things that they would kind of throw out there is, and I think it's totally relatable to this, is there is no, like, black and white. It's basically this lawsuit, any lawsuit, whatever judge it goes in front of, or if it's in front of a jury, it's their decision, and there's no like concrete.
There's no legal precedence for every single case because everything's pretty unique up to this point.
The fair use, they were saying like the lawyer said there were 2 cases. The one that went in front of a judge was like seen as fair use. Okay, you got it, and this is fair use. The judge understood the law. In front of a jury, they didn't understand it, went right over their head. They're like, yeah, he owns this.
But
he should get paid.
Judges interpret the law in their own
that's a judge's job.
Well. Yeah.
But, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think of fair use in this, too, of, like, it's not going to be, like, this isn't just, to me, some of it is not black and white. Like, Backpack Kids is not black and white.
Backpack Kid, I agree with. His is muddy because the question is not, that's not a fair use question. That's a question of, does he actually own that intellectual property? That's a very different
Because if you're not the
statement.
first one to do it, how can you say you own it?
Right.
Yeah, but, I mean, you could also argue, that a lot of people who've invented things and gotten patents for it were not the first person to do it. They're just
super
the one
true,
that got
actually.
it patented.
And to Backpack Kid's credit, I like that. I'm not even going to look up his name. He's just Backpack Kid in my mind.
It's Russell Horn.
He's the one who made it famous. People had to dig to find another case of this happened in the past. So I think Mark has a very good point about patents are a dime a dozen, and it's really the first person to bring them to popularity and to success are the only ones that matter. Like, you look back, and I know I'm going, like, way out of our realm here, but, like, Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla, like, you look at the comparisons between a lot of what they each had patented, and Thomas Edison gets a lot of credit for a lot of things, and he didn't necessarily invent everything, but he might be the guy who brought it to the table. He's the guy who had the cachet around his name, who had the follow-through, who brought things out, and, obviously succeeded for it, but, like, there's a lot of cases like that where you see like multiple famous inventors and it's like this guy really benefited a lot from this guy over here who not a lot of people know about. So I think it's a similar case with these, you popularize a dance, in this case it's a dance. So you're the one who brings it to popularity. No one would be knowing this, celebrating this, and it's associated with your likeness. I feel like because it's associated with your likeness, you have a right to it. Like if it was a CGI thing from the get-go and you're like, oh, I made this thing on like, not Dance Dance Revolution, but like one of those games. Like, oh yeah, I did the background design for that and the artwork, and I'm the one who came up with that. Like, that's harder to say. But like, literally, we know this dance because Carlton. Like, he's still got what Dance with the Stars was like 3 years ago when he was on there and he did the Carlton there. And I was like, that was his. That's still his claim to fame. Like that man's career is built off of that one acting gig in his life and the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
And I don't think. When it comes to the fair use thing, like I said, Backpack Kid is a muddy one for different reasons, but I don't think there's any fair use argument in this. I think this is fairly clear cut.
No. I'm comparing it to like fair use cases. Not saying it is fair use.
Yeah.
I'm comparing it to those cases because to me, I feel like 2 Millies is the most black and white because his is in his rap video. So you can maybe say, all right, there's more of a precedent that maybe he came up with this. Unless it's in a different video and you find out that. Then it's the Carlton, because like I said, like his phrasing of stealing it, and I'm still going to say it because that's what he said.
You can say it all you want, but it was inspired by, because you can't steal from two people and combine things together.
Is the one that's the least black and white because it's literally like, hey, this person did it. I know you're in the action of copywriting it first. It's not even copyrighted yet by him.
Right.
But there are examples that we see already of someone else doing your dance before you.
Yeah. And part of it, too, I think this is just going to serve as a lesson. I mean, if Fortnite wasn't selling access to these things, it would not be a problem. Nobody would care. Maybe somebody would. Maybe, the actor who plays Carlton would have been like, no, I really don't want to be associated with this, so can you just stop? We see that all the time with political campaigns.
Oh, my God. That doesn't stop them, though.
Yeah, it doesn't. And they could, seek legal action to stop people, but you see it all the time. They play a song, and they're like, no, we do not agree with your political message. We want you to stop.
Notably Trump and literally every campaign stop he had.
Pretty much. They have this idea that we could sell it. They are getting a lot of flack for it. I think just plain and simple, they'll just be like, all right, fine. Those are not being sold.
Do you think this sets a scary precedent for the future, though, where video games right now trying to include pop culture, and this is a case where they obviously weren't talking to the owners or the creators of them, and they were just profiting from it. But in the future, do you think this kind of opens up the lines for like, oh, if you collaborate, like we're happy to give you our likeness or work with you or add in some different value?
No, the thing that just popped into my head was, and this kind of goes along with that, is nobody gave a crap when WoW was doing this. Like, one of the dances literally in WoW was Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, like, whoever even could sue them, never did.
Yeah.
Never, like, and that's the thing also of,
do we know that there was any communication behind that?
No, I never heard anything. I can look it up, but I haven't heard anything.
We're in a different era now, and this is not to discredit WoW, because I don't want either one of you two getting mad at me.
Thank you.
Fortnite is a different animal today than WoW was. I
mean, WoW peaked around 15 million. No, probably only like 13 million, 14 million users. And Fortnite's 100.
People probably didn't know what WoW was unless you had a kid that played it. Almost everybody.
If you had a basement, you knew what WoW was.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Pretty much everybody. Everybody who's an adult and has seen a child before knows what Fortnite is.
Yeah.
It's just because it's that popular and it's that immersed into pop culture. But I do think that, to an extent, you do have some companies who maybe will get a little weary about including pop culture if it's something this blatant. If it's just like, hey, here's a reference to, some TV show or some actor or something like that, I don't think anybody's going to care. What
I would do, and this is me being, because I'm kind of a little bit, maybe I get this from hanging around with Dave so much, a little bit of spitefulness, where I would immediately do is, all right, I'm going to change it. I'm going to do, it's the same dance, but at the end, he does something completely different. Technically, it's not your dance anymore because I'm adding to it, and it's not the Carlton. It's, it's in there, but there's more to it.
And if you want to go the extra spiteful step forward one more time, if I was that artist, I'd say, okay, we will see you in court.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of this is going to be dictated in a court because, like we said, there's not a great precedence for this, and moving forward, I think it's only going to come up more and more. Again, Alfonso Ribeiro Carlton is also suing 2K and a couple other game studios for this likeness, so he's not just going after Fortnite, he's going after multiple studios for using his dance. I think that it sets up almost a scary precedence going forward, depending on which way the judge rules in these lawsuits, or multiple judges are going to rule in these lawsuits, because it could be where we just don't see pop culture integrated into these games anymore, which would be a shame because honestly, it's like a nice little sprinkle on top. It's like, it's kind of cool that like we're keeping relevant with things. It's a way to keep games feel fresh by adding a small addition. I don't think it's anything. Also dates the games, which is kind of funny too. Yeah, looking back on them.
I think the problem is just the money. If companies just went ahead and made it something just included, it wouldn't be a problem.
We'll give you 10% of all sales on this dance that we borrowed.
Oh, I don't even necessarily think it's
just make it free.
It's not something you have to pay to add this dance. It's an emote. It's just there.
Because then you can say it's more of a tribute.
I don't know if 2K you have to pay for it though.
I don't think most of these did. I think that it's just that once one did, his idea is no, I don't want this anywhere.
And anything,
I'm done with this.
Maybe.
But yeah,
it's interesting, and we'll keep a close eye on this one. We'll probably give you guys an update as it unfolds moving forward. But let's move into the hype list.
Potatoes.
The hype list, and I'm even going to short stop that. And before we get to that, I do want to give a shout out. Soapy Muffins, we gave some love last week.
Yep.
Love it. But if you want to join us on Patreon or join us for an episode of Too Old to Game or any other MVP podcast, check us out on Patreon. Any level donation helps us immensely. It keeps us going. It keeps us able to put out more content. And if you do at that $10 tier, you get to join us for a podcast, talk about pretty much whatever you want.
And you don't have to be super hot.
And you don't have to be super hot sitting in this room with us.
Meaning that you don't have to be super hot looking if you're ugly.
Oh, you can all. That's true. We're not exactly lookers in this room.
You said that, and I'm like, that's where Mark's going.
Super
right?
hot.
Actually, I did literally mean the fact that it's boiling and I feel the sweat running down my back.
Yeah, this is 25 minutes in a room with a closed door, and I'm dying.
But I also mean that you could be ugly. It's fine. Be as ugly as you want.
Yeah.
No one's judging you.
I mean, shit, they let me on camera, so let's get rolling, though. The top 5 hype lists for 2019. Most anticipated games.
Yep.
Let's do this where each person's going to read out their entire list, and that way we'll have everything out in the open.
From worst to best or best to
mock
worst?
draft style.
I don't think it's going to matter. I'll put up
No,
the 5
it's very
mock draft
important.
style.
I'd prefer 5 to 1.
Okay,
I prefer 5 to 1. And
because I know there's a difference of opinion in that.
I'm going to put up with the sports side, it's big boards. We've gone up to that draft. You kind of have to go 1 through.
You don't have to.
You don't have to.
You don't have to. It just
the
leaves more
worst
suspense.
team picks this guy. Well, why would they pick that guy? Wait and see.
Just wait and see. Exactly.
You'll find out.
So, Mark Weber, let's start with your list.
Okay, the whole thing, starting from the bottom, and then we will see where we go.
I think there's a song that you almost hit on.
Well, I don't want to get sued. So we're gonna start
topical.
with and this is one that I honestly am very excited about just for the funness of this game. I had so much fun with the first one. So Dying Light 2 is my 5th most anticipated for 2019, and I believe the only one that has a really good chance of coming out in 2019.
On
the
your
rest
list?
of mine are debatable.
Okay.
Then 4, because I love Star Wars so much. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and I'm just finally waiting for a actual Star Wars game ever since Disney bought this thing.
Yeah.
Number 3, it's an obvious one. Cyberpunk 2077. It's gonna be awesome. At least I hope. Number 2 is one that at first I was gonna say Elder Scrolls 6, and then I realized, wait a minute. This game has a better chance of coming out first.
Okay.
Also made by Bethesda, Starfield. A game that we pretty much know nothing about, but it's probably going to be Elder Scrolls or Fallout in space.
Space RPG.
And then finally, the most obvious one for me, if you've ever listened to me talk about anything with games, The Last of Us Part 2 is my number 1 most anticipated.
Wonderful. Ricky Widmer, let's hear your top 5.
My top 5, starting at the bottom. Now we here.
Thank you.
We're not here yet.
Thank you.
I'm going to do it. I don't care. Drake, come after me. Please don't. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money.
I say, Drake watches this shit, right?
Yeah, he does, and he will come back. He doesn't like how we shit talk his Raptors all the time, so he's a little mad about that.
I know.
But starting at the bottom, number 5, Mortal Kombat 11. I am actually so pumped for this so I'm taking off work on my birthday, January 17th.
Well, now they know.
Now they all know.
And I'm going to tell them there's an event in London for the premiere of Mortal Kombat, and I guess they're dropping another trailer that day.
Oh, dope.
So I'm going to be hyped for that. Happy birthday to me. Then and number 4, Dave got to play it. That's all we can say. It's going to be Anthem at number 4.
Yep.
Can't wait to be Tony Stark. Then the next 3 all could be think of it this way: 1A, 1B, 1C for me, because I am super hyped for all this. The first one, Pokemon Switch, the Game Freak Pokemon Switch. You think Pokemon Eevee, Pokemon Pikachu is Pokemon on the Switch? No, you're wrong. I can't wait to see what a true Pokemon game will be on the Switch. We'll get that in 2019.
Probably not going to be any different than most Pokemon games.
Well, this one's the thing that's awesome with it's going to have it's going to be built for the hardware of the Switch that I'm really excited about, although it's a handheld, so we'll see. Then Kingdom Hearts 3, please don't be delayed again. And then my only one that might come out in 2019, Mark had it number 1. I'm going to have it number 1, The Last of Us Part Dos.
Fair enough. And my 2019 top 5 hype games starts number 5, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. It's from the makers of Titanfall 2.
Yep. Respawn.
So I'm looking really forward to that because I had some type of gameplay to it. Number 4, Anthem. I played that game. Number 3, Kingdom Hearts 3. Obviously, this is 15 years in the making, something like that. It's too damn long. Too damn long. If it gets pushed back again, I'm going to freak out. But we can guarantee it will happen in 2019 at least. Know that much. Number 2, I've got Cyberpunk 2077. And then at number 1, Borderlands 3. I'm angry at both of you for leaving this off of your list, but I understand. You guys have a special connection to Last of Us Part 2. That's fair. Me and Borderlands, we go back. So
You just really got attached to Borderlands and just love it.
It's one of those games.
Because what was funny was when I started playing Borderlands when it was my old friend Matt from high school got me into it. And then all of a sudden, years later, I think it was when 2 came out, Dave's like, oh my God, Borderlands. I was like, it was okay the first time. It was good, but wasn't great. And then you just hype machined it up.
Borderlands so good. Great writing, great artwork, totally unique. And so let's get going on some of the ones that we all can agree on here. And there's not a lot because we all have differences. So let's go for 2 out of 3.
I'm the glue in the middle for most of these.
Let's go 2 out of 3s then.
I actually think you're like kind of the furthest out.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I've got Anthem like Dave. I've got Last of Us like you. I've got Kingdom Hearts like Dave.
Pokemon and Mortal Kombat just feel
Yeah.
very out.
So fighting game, Mortal Kombat, like what makes that stand out on your most hyped game? Because for me, I just feel like that's the same game every year. Like it's new game, slightly better graphics, probably a different character or two, but it's the same game. It's like Madden every year. It's like 2K
it's a
every
fighting
year.
game, but like I saw it after seeing the trailer from the Game Awards. I was like, I haven't bought a Mortal Kombat game in quite a while. I think it was, geez, I don't even remember what it was. I know it had the story mode for like the first time, but I saw the trailer and I'm like, I'm going to give it a try. Like now that I have so much time over the summer to actually play games, like
so much more time.
I am going to dive back in, play some games. Plus maybe when I get Super Smash in about a week for Christmas, because my sister, well, not her boyfriend is being very mean and making me wait till Christmas to get my Switch when she got her laptop at Thanksgiving.
Wow.
From me for Christmas. But it was just one of those things. I was hyped about the trailer. I'm going to get back into Mortal Kombat this year.
Fair enough. Mark, going to you. Bringing Dying Light 2 into this, a game that I haven't heard a ton about. What intrigues you about Dying Light?
Well, the first game was just so much fun.
It's a zombie one.
It's zombie parkour, basically. Like you're in a place, you're parkouring all over the place. You're fighting zombies. It's fun because it has that extra kind of level once it turns to night. Everything gets more dangerous, and not just because it's night, because specific kinds of zombies come out at night.
Okay.
And it was just a lot of fun to play. It was just very fun to roam around. They say that now your choices are going to matter for the story, which really wasn't a thing the first time.
That'd be cool.
And we've kind of moved far away enough from the zombie craze where everybody was doing zombies that I feel like a zombie game now is going to feel kind of nice again.
It's like finding a pretzel roll these days. You're like, oh, I remember when those things were everywhere. I could go for one of those now.
Yeah, it's just, I had so much fun playing it. And this was back when we did some streaming for the channel as well. And I used to stream it on the channel, and it was a lot of fun. And then we'd get some of our viewers and stuff to come play as well. So it was a good time. But yeah, it's just one of those games where it's fun to run around and just do whatever and that.
I'll always remember. I was going to bring that up too. Where you were streaming, and then it's like, I'm watching Mark stream it, and then I can't remember his name, but he was just like, hey, can I jump on? And Mark's like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then,
go for it.
Oh, cool, there he is. Mark's playing with him. There's 2 of them now.
And then he was there.
So you guys really enjoyed the first one.
It was a lot of fun.
All right.
And I hope the second one's just going to be a step up.
I just pulled a Dave. I just watched Mark play it. I'm like, you know what?
Hey,
I'm like,
some games are better enjoyed that way.
hardcore parkour. I'm just going to watch Mark play it. And him jump
stuff.
on buses and stuff and look down like, how do I kill these zombies? I don't have the right weapon.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there was a lot
I
of
don't
that
think
in
you
the
had
game.
I don't think you had a gun at that point.
For
or
a
gun
long
at all.
time, I didn't have a gun.
And then let's hit up Ricky one more time.
Okay.
Pokemon Switch.
I mean,
Why?
it's the thing where I need a good Pokemon game in my life. I need a red and blue
But I mean, like,
Pokemon.
I don't think you're ever going to get that again.
I would say, like, Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, Let's Go Pikachu is already out.
But it's not this. So the Pokemon Switch that they're going to come out with is going to be a true Pokemon. I don't think, to me, Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, that's not a true Pokemon game. I can play that on my phone. With the mechanics, I can play that. I can catch Pokemon in that game on my phone. It's the same mechanic of, ooh, I got this ball. I'm going to throw it at her. Ooh, I got to feed it a berry. No,
But you get to go through and do the gym battles, and you get to explore the map.
That's not Pokemon to
There's
me.
a storyline.
That is
There's a challenge mode after you beat
Safari
it.
Zone with a little bit of plus on it. I'm talking like actual Pokemon
Gonna make
game
a lot of Pokemon fans out there
with
angry.
the fighting mechanic, like with the true fighting mechanic, with the true catching mechanic of basically how I picture it in my head, and it's bad because it's like fantasy booking in WWE, where I am thinking Pokemon Stadium like for the battles, like actually seeing the Pokemon go at each other rather than the two 2D kind of silhouettes on my Game Boy screen, kind of like what we've seen with the DS, and finally having that DS type of Pokemon game on my Switch, which is where I feel like Nintendo should be going. Like, yeah, you can have a portable version, but your Switch is docking and portable. There needs to be a true Pokemon game.
This is the only game for the Switch on here, on our entire list, so honorable shout-out for that, I guess.
Go Switch.
It's impressive. Switch one of those things where I keep thinking I want to buy it, but I'm like, I won't use it that much.
I'm exactly the same
I'm not
way.
going to use it.
I'm like, I kind of want it, and I keep seeing advertisements for it,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to play it.
I can't wait to play Zelda and Super Smash Bros.
All
on the
it is,
shitter.
Yeah. All right. I would say Super Smash Bros. Is pretty much the only thing that super interests me right now.
Yeah.
But that's just because I've been playing at work. And
I mean,
it's
if
sort
I
of
had,
addicting.
I will say, if I had the Switch when I was gonna buy Celeste, I probably would have bought it on the Switch,
All right.
just so I could play that platformer portable and not have to sit at my PS2 or PS4 to play it.
All right. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Mark.
Yep.
Let's jam on some Cyberpunk 2077.
All right.
This was a game that popped off at E3 right after we saw the released footage of gameplay for the first 15, 20 minutes, I believe. Mm-hmm. Actually, I think it was longer than that.
And they're like, hey, it doesn't matter because it's all going to change anyways.
And it looked beautiful.
Yeah.
And the gameplay looked really clean already, which I was like, I know it's a scripted bit, but wow. Just wow. What for you makes it your number 3?
Well, I think what you got to look at is you got to look at how much of a phenomenon that The Witcher 3 was, and just how awesome that game was, how loved that game was, how loved the company was by giving out free anything else that comes out with the game. No, you already paid for the game. Here you go. You can have it.
It's a bold move.
Yeah, and they do such a great job with huge open worlds, with giving you so much that you can do, great stories, and now we're going to take all that fun and all that excitement that we had with Witcher 3 and just move it into the future in a very different looking kind of future. And that city that you have looks like it's going to be so much fun to play in. And part of it, too, is just like everything just so brightly colored and stuff like that. It just looks very inviting to go play that game.
I was going to say the art style looks impeccable. Like it stands out amongst the crowd, I think, definitely for me. Nobody else has done anything like that on that kind of a scale. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be really interested for that one. And honestly, I just want more leaks. Please, just keep me going. Give me a little some bits of hope throughout the year that we see this by Q4 of this 2019 year.
Do we think it's going to get pushed, though? Do you think, because I know there's no release date.
I hope not.
Do you think it's going to get pushed to 2020?
If it gets pushed to 2020 so it can be on a PlayStation 5, I guess I'd be okay with it, but I'm really hoping it's like the peak of the last of the PS4.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like we've really had that huge defining game. I mean, when you think back to the PlayStation 3, and at the end, what did we get? We got The Last of Us. And that was like this is the best we can possibly get out of this console. We need another one now because we cannot get better than this game right here. And I don't feel like we've gotten that with any of our games. We've gotten some beautiful games, but I don't think we've gotten to that point where it's like, it does not get better than this.
No, I completely agree with you, Mark.
And Cyberpunk, from what we've seen, very much has that look of this could be the highlight. This could be the thing when we look back at this console, you think, oh yeah, remember Cyberpunk 2077? Like, that's what this game looks like it could be.
The final...
It's the sunset.
Final swan song, basically, for this gen.
Yep.
To send it off into, Scarlet for Xbox and PlayStation 5 for PlayStation?
Yeah.
Whatever they're going to call the next
Maybe they'll
one.
pull an Apple, skip straight to 6.
Maybe.
Skip the
pretty
5.
dope.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's honestly, it's one of the most highly anticipated games of next year, I think, across the board. Mm-hmm. So I'm just falling into the fandom. Like, I think it's going to be just a dope game.
Do you think they're just waiting? The reason why they haven't given a release date is if they're aiming for a Q4 release, hey, let's announce the release date at E3.
They're not doing E3.
Oh,
well,
okay.
I'm sorry, they are, because it's. I thought Sony. My
No.
first thought was
CD
like,
Projekt
yeah,
Red.
it's like, not them.
I'd like with Cyberpunk and
I'm just
CD
being a jerk.
Projekt Red.
Yeah, yep.
Are they? Is that what they're waiting
Yeah.
for? Hey, E3
that's-
week. That's when we're gonna put the release date out
Probably.
there.
Yeah.
Or at the conference, like, make it a moment.
Because I think they were one of the show stealers from this year's past E3. So
Yeah.
I would say that, they could definitely headline this with some less attention going on this year. So I'd be intrigued to see that announcement go live during a conference. That'd be pretty crazy.
Yeah, because I mean, with Last of Us, is that because that's one we don't have a date with either.
Yeah,
that one is going to be like Sony has that release power, right? Like they're the ones that would release because they.
No, I mean it's Naughty Dog's game.
Because they did the reason why I ask is it was a part of the PlayStation stuff for E3.
But I mean that's just because they own, like it's their first party. But Naughty Dog's going to decide when that game comes out.
Okay.
I mean it's their game.
I'm talking about when they release, like when they announce when it's going to release.
When they announce it, sure.
Is that
unless
Sony?
Naughty
is
Dog...
that Naughty Dog that chooses that, or is that Sony that chooses that?
I would assume that's Naughty Dog's decision and not Sony's.
Yeah, they might choose to release it through Sony.
Because Sony's doing that, correct me if I'm wrong, they're doing that presentation PSX thing a week before E3.
Prior to E3.
And why they're not doing
So far,
E3.
that's still the rumor date.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be interesting. But you did bring up Last of Us. It's both of your number one game for 2019.
Yep.
Sell me on the hype. I don't even have it in my top 5.
I loved it. Like, the story was just impeccable.
Perfect. Yeah.
Like, I wasn't hyped. Mark got me into it. Like, Mark was, I don't even know how you got into it, but like, Mark's like,
fucking awesome.
Mark's like, you gotta play this game. And I was like, fine, I'll go out and buy it. And it was just, the part that sticks with me to this day, and it's been years after, it's towards the end of the game where you're fighting through all this shit, everything's gone by, and it's just a scene of like, there's a hole in the wall, and Ellie just walks up. This little kid just goes, oh, hey, a giraffe. And she just pets the side of the giraffe's face. And you're like...
And you just sit there and chill for a while.
I'm like, holy shit. I'm just going to look at this. This giraffe looks so awesome. And it's so
That was
peaceful.
such a perfectly placed moment of, I don't want this game to end. I know it's about to because we're
you're right
about
at
to
the
get
end.
to the final part. And I'm just going to put the controller down. The music is beautiful through the whole thing, but especially that moment's a highlight.
But
and
even-
you're just like, I just don't want to change it. Because as long as you don't touch anything, that moment will not stop.
And like, even when you're walking like it's later in the game, you're walking like the overgrown highway. It's just like, wow, they put a ton of work into this scenery to make it look. And like, it was immerseful, and I was in the story. Correct me if I'm wrong, David, creepy motherfucker. Like, I don't want to meet that guy ever.
Well, he's dead, so
he's
spoilers.
very dead. But dude, this guy was like he gave off like
He was a
child
pedophile.
molester.
Could we call him
like-
Creepy David then, not to be confused with me,
Yeah,
Dave?
no, creepy Dave. Then.
Let's build some separation amongst that.
Yeah.
But he didn't go by Dave. Didn't he go by David? He went by
pretty
the
sure he
full
went by
name,
David.
right? Yeah. I
Only
can't,
psychopaths do
I
that.
can't get the creepiness of him talking to Ellie while she's locked up in the like jail cell, and the creepiness from him. Where that boss fight creeped me out. Where you gotta like slink behind, the place is on fire, and he's like trying to kill you, and I'm like, oh my god, a pedophile is trying to kill me, and I'm playing as a little girl. Like, that's all that's going through my head, and it's just so creepy, and that's why I can't wait for 2. But Ellie's grown up, so I don't know how. It's going to be a different dynamic.
And the question still is out there of, is Joel alive or is Joel dead? We don't know yet.
Is he just
There's still
in our
some
head?
things. But for me, this game was such a perfect ending to the PlayStation 3. And it came out at the perfect time. It came out right around Father's Day. I think Father's Day weekend, actually.
Yep.
And the whole game is the dynamic between a man and this child, this little girl that he has been kind of, forced into a father-daughter relationship
Well,
with.
because he loses his real daughter because of it.
Yeah. I hope you've all played The Last of Us.
We've already hit
spoiled
spoilers,
so much stuff.
It's been out long enough. Like, I don't feel bad.
But he's kind of forced in this father-daughter relationship, and you really watch that build and stuff like that, and you go on this journey, and so much of it was great. It was exciting. It was zombies, but it was slightly different.
No, they were clickers, Mark.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
infected. Is what they are.
infected.
Clickers are a specific kind of infected.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, this game is just one of those games where it hit on everything. It was beautiful looking. It sounded beautiful. The gameplay was great. It's a survival horror game, and it felt like it was a survival horror game. I mean, you could get one shot killed by many of these enemies and things like that, and it worked out so well. I'm so excited for The Last of Us 2, just because I want to see where it continues. And you might remember, I was actually on the just let it Just stop.
Just let it end.
Just don't do another one.
I was going to say, do you think this was
a
a forced sequel, or do you think this was like the fans really
I don't
wanted
necessarily
it?
know that it's a forced sequel. I think that they gave themselves enough of an idea of, well, we could keep going,
Okay.
but we could stop here.
So you potentially have some concerns about, is it the storyline? Like, where are they going from here?
Yeah, it's definitely just a...
Because you mentioned a time gap as well.
The storyline was so good in number 1.
Yeah.
Is part 2 going to be as good of that quality?
Refresh my memory. It ends with, so everything happens to Joel, and then there's a little thing at the end where you play as Ellie, right? Where you like walk up and you find the whatever settlement that she joins. Isn't that right at the end? Where like you play one scene as Ellie after you do the whole Joel thing, where he's like carrying her out and stuff like that.
I don't actually 100% remember that, so feel free to look it up. I just remember the end scene, which caused quite a bit of controversy, where Joel lies to Ellie, and she just looks at him and says, "Okay." And like the debate was, does she believe him, or does she know he's lying and is just accepting it for now? So, and that's one of the big things with why it's a big deal of the fact that we haven't really seen Joel yet. Plus, it's just like she was 15, I think, in the first one, and now she's in her like young 20s. Okay, so we've probably skipped 6-7 years.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like from everything, it sounds like it, really compelling characters and makes you emotionally invested. So yeah, after kind of going through all those trials and tribulations, where's it going to pick up at? And like, are you going to be able to get, like, do you think that because her character was so well, explained and well put out there, that like you're going to fall right back into like where you were at the end of the last game?
I'm assuming that Naughty Dog's going to do a good job with that because they're a good developer.
Yeah.
And they've always had good stories. But I think that something, too, for this is you have this character who is a child when the world goes to shit.
Now she's becoming an adult.
And she's becoming an adult, and she's an adult who's lived through this world. All she knows is this terrible world with terrible things going on.
And that she's supposed to be infected, but somehow she's not.
Yeah, and... there's some of that stuff, so there's going to be some interesting with some factions, some that I think are going to believe that she's like some savior, some others that are going to think she's some devil. Right. And it's just going to be very interesting from there, and I think she's going to become a rather ruthless character.
Oh.
So it'll be cool.
I like it.
And you were right, Mark. I remember so you play as Ellie.
When Joel was hurt.
Well,
I think
I remember that it was like wilderness area because I remember playing with Ellie. But the very end is she asks him like, "Swear to me that everything you said about the Firefly organization is true." And Joel just goes, "I swear." And the thing that I loved, like just looking back on it, that makes it even impactful now is you see her just stare at him like this, and she just goes, "Okay."
And she knows it's a lie.
Naughty Dog. You don't know if she actually believes him.
Yeah.
If she, like Mark was saying, does she believe him?
Yeah.
Does she think like, I know you're lying, but okay, like you're gonna stand by your lie?
Yeah.
We don't know that.
Okay.
We don't know if, like Mark said, if Joel's alive. Because even from the first teaser that we got, it's like, wait, is Joel alive? Is he a part, like a figment, like a memory of her imagination that like
maybe
their
he's a Force
spirit
ghost.
lives with her? Yeah, kind of like a Force ghost.
It's Force
Never
Ghost.
know.
I like the crossover.
Yep. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited.
Boys, it's kind of creeping into...
Dave's like, let me talk about mine.
No. I'm saying like, I've had like 6 games that were fighting for like my last slot, and you guys know this. I was going back and forth with you before the show, obviously, and over text too. It's like I had so many games where I'm like, I want that one, but I really want these ones. So
which were some that didn't make the cut for you?
I think that's gonna be for a different episode.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna save those. I'm gonna save those for into 2019. If I yeah, because I want to go to the ones with no release date, and my notable no release dates are obviously Star Wars: The Jedi Fallen Order. Yep. Mark had mentioned earlier.
Oh yeah,
this is a game that we have not seen a really well done Star Wars game in quite some time. Titanfall 2 creators in this, and while I didn't actually love the online Titanfall 2 experience, I liked the single player. Weirdly, I like the standard play for it. Like online was super quick paced and like fun, but I was more of a Call of Duty person myself. That's just a preference, but I think they did a really great job on the game and kept it going quite long. I look at the Star Wars and I'm like, the timing is perfect. Episode 3, Episode 4. You're in that wonderful gap where we see Darth Vader, become himself, really. It's how did he go from the betrayed to, the leader of the Empire, really. And I've got immense levels of hype for this because we've talked about how, like, since the days of, like, KOTOR and KOTOR 2, Knights of the Old Republic, it is, like, we've really craved a game that has, like, a deep connection to the Star Wars universe that gets us into the lore, keeps us in the main universe, but also explores into, like, all the stuff that's out there. And I think this is a game that really can channel that.
I hope so. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how much kind of free reign they get.
Yeah.
Because you think back to when KOTOR came out, Knights of the Old Republic, and it was like...
way back in the day.
Yeah, it's like, hey, make your shit up. You're in an era where you can do whatever you want. And they make up Darth Malak and Darth Revan, and there's this huge... kind of extra world and extra lore that they make, and they discover old planets with awesome secret weapons and things like that. Like, there's a lot that goes into that. I don't think you get as much freedom now because Disney's going to kind of be like, well, we got to make sure everything's consistent. We're not in the old days of, like, we just do kind of whatever
the expanding
you want.
extended universe, because they gave us that time frame of between episode 3 and 4, they're kind of setting us on a track where it's like, I have a feeling of where they're going to go with it, but I'm really interested in what happens in that time period. And I think that's one of those things where a lot of people dove into the extended universe from a book perspective because obviously the EU is, like, huge. But I think that it's going to give us a different perspective. I hope that it gives us an awesome play experience because that's honestly the most frustrating thing is a Jedi in my mind and in the movies has not been comparable to anything that we've been able to play, unfortunately. Like, the play has been very limited. You don't really feel as empowered and as awesome as you could be in what you've seen happen in movies. So,
with maybe the exception of the Force
Unleashed,
where you were too powerful.
Yeah, then you're basically God.
Yeah, and I think that with this one too, it's interesting because that. So you're gonna play as a Jedi Padawan who somehow escapes Order 66, and that he's going to lose. Yep. He's gonna die. He has to die because he's not in Episode 4. So it's very much like when you went into watching Rogue One, you knew everybody you saw was about to die at some point.
But they pulled that shit off.
And it was great. It was great. So you have this game now, and that's one of the interesting things when it comes to, like, a story like that. Like, you can get away with it sometimes with movies, having this everybody dies.
I literally got chills when you start talking about Rogue One because those last 2 minutes,
it's awesome.
We saw, like, Vader being Vader.
Yeah.
And I'm still getting, like, my whole body's going nuts right now because, like you said, it's the timeline, exactly what's going to happen, but how they delivered it was special.
Yeah.
Sorry,
and
go ahead, Mark.
One moment I actually really loved was Halo Reach, where once again you knew all the Spartans were going to die.
Yeah.
And you have that last mission where it's just survive. And you don't. You die at this point, and that's the purpose. You're supposed to die. And that's what this game kind of has to be. The guy's going to die. And, that's a challenge for a storyteller to tell a story where the protagonist eventually loses. But it's going to be really cool, and it's going to be great to have a good Star Wars story again. I really hope it's a good Star Wars story, because if it's not, then we've gone all this time still without a good one, since probably arguably The Force Unleashed.
Yeah.
Some people would say it's been even longer. Some people would honestly say since KOTOR.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, and I never played KOTOR, but my big thing is the last Star Wars game that I was, like, really hyped about was Rebel Assault 2. Like, and that was, what, 1995 on the PlayStation 1?
Oh, my God.
Like, that was the last one where I'm like, man, I felt really good. Like, I'm watching it right now.
That was a challenging game to play.
The Millennial Falcon through the mining tunnels, it's giving me, like, Vietnam flashbacks in my head because I could never get through it for the longest time.
Battletoads jet bikes, right on the same level.
Basically, which is a remake of that is coming out.
I heard.
That almost made my top 5, to be honest, right there at 5.
Battletoads.
But I felt like Crash Racing, and that couldn't because they're remakes.
Yeah.
I just feel like eventually it's like, when are we going to get that Star Wars game that is like, when are we going to get that one? I'm going to say it like this, but then back off of it. God of War level, Spider-Man level, where it's like,
you take that,
wow, this is a really good game. This is like Game of the Year nominee good.
And then we can build a franchise off of it.
Yeah,
and that's what we all want. Like, people want to cling to this universe because, honestly, they love it. And from a cinematic standpoint, we've been a little disappointed as of late. Obviously, with all the controversy around episode 8 and how it was directed, and we'll see what happens with 9.
Episode 8 was awesome.
I liked 8.
It was great.
I liked 8. It gave 7 the finger.
Yeah,
I like 7 better.
I loved them both.
I enjoyed them both.
They were great.
Yeah.
But that comes to a point, and I'm going to make this same point when another game gets brought up. But Star Wars is this franchise where it doesn't matter what the game is, doesn't matter how amazing it is, it's never going to make everybody happy. And there's going to be a very vocal minority who is not happy, even if it's great. Just like Kingdom Hearts 3, which there's no way Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to make everybody happy.
How do you live up to hype of a decade plus waiting?
I mean, what do you mean by, what do you think that will be the most hated thing about it? If you're thinking
I don't really know because I've never played Kingdom Hearts. I just think that no matter what, people have had 15 years of building this third game in their own head.
Because I just want a good story.
I think
I want a
you
good
will
story,
like it.
and I want new
He's
worlds.
an easy grader, though.
Yeah,
to be
I
fair.
think you're going to like it. I think Dave will like it. But when you go on Reddit and you see everybody post about it, you're going to see tons of good ones, and then people are going to talk shit too.
The thing that is going to be the most hated thing about Kingdom Hearts to me is, why wasn't this a world? Because we're already seeing it. They showed a picture of Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, him being one of the ultimate attacks. And right away, the first response on Twitter was, "Oh, you couldn't do my bro right and give him his own world?" That is going to be what you had 15 years. And like, if it's like, we're going back to this world, people are going to be like, why am I going back to this one? Give me a new one. Like, that is what people are going to get mad about. Why their favorite Pixar and Disney movie wasn't in there.
They have such a huge library.
I know, Dave.
It's like,
I know.
It's
but
impossible.
I mean, does this not speak back to the, I mean, I guess the Spider-Man Sam Raimi thing was a little simpler. They didn't have quite as much.
Suit.
Yeah, well, they didn't have quite as much around it as well.
But it's the entitlement.
Yeah,
you feel like
the
what
fan
you
entitlement.
want, they owe
I
you.
connected better with these movies or these experiences, and I want to see that dictated on the screen.
The thing now that I'm going to say, and we've never been able to do this with the Kingdom Hearts game that we can do now, for the people that are going to be complaining that their world was not in it. Yeah, this game could have DLC.
I know.
Like Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts 2, PlayStation 2 didn't have DLC. Like, you were lucky if you had the flat PS2 and could connect to the Ethernet. Remember the SOCOM? Was it SOCOM? Which was the Navy SEAL?
Yeah, SOCOM was awesome.
And you had to buy the connector to get online, and then you got online, and you're like, the online isn't as great as I thought, but the game is awesome.
It was a really cool game.
Yeah.
Yep. But I think it's not that. I think the thing with Kingdom Hearts is just, it's nostalgia. Everybody remembers this awesome game, and they had fun with it because they connected with it at that time. Yeah. And, you know,
think about it. We all played it when we were kids.
You're 15 years older.
Yeah.
Now. Like, for some people, your
just
life
never leave,
has
never leave that mind frame.
Right?
Just never leave it, and then you'll be happy.
I mean, honestly,
original man child himself.
Think about it for the two of you guys who are just 1 year older than me. When this game comes out, Ricky, you will almost be 30. You will be 1 year off from being 30.
But in my heart, I'm still in my mid-20s.
Your life has
if
literally
not younger.
You ain't a day over 18 in your mind.
Your life has more than doubled in this time period.
Yeah, no, it's true.
And that's the thing that's going to be a big issue for a lot of these gamers. Whether it's right or wrong, it's just not going to live up to their nostalgia and their personal connections to those
I'm dubbing 2019 already. When it comes to games, when it comes to movies, the year of nostalgia with Aladdin, Dumbo, Lion King, Kingdom Hearts. Like, there are so many Battletoads, Crash Racing, where it is just, to me, 2019, just call it the year of nostalgia.
Well, I mean, you think about it, the people who love these things are now the people who are making them.
Yeah.
So they're just wanting to go back to what they like.
It's a very good point. And you know it's going to make money. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's a surefire, like, cash-in strategy because everybody's got those great memories of them as a kid playing the game. And now we're the people supposed to have that disposable income, you know, freaking millennials. But whatever.
Elder millennials, Dave.
Yeah.
Elder millennials.
We're elder millennials. But yeah, no, I think that the nostalgia hype train is pretty much spot on. Like, you're right. No matter what it is, I don't know if I'll ever be 100% like, they really hit the spot all the way across in this thing. If Ricky says they do release DLCs, New Worlds, continued story, I'm going to be impressed.
They have to, right?
I'm going to be impressed.
They don't have to do anything.
I mean, think of the games now. Yeah. There's not many of them that don't do DLCs in some way or another.
There's more games that don't do DLC than games that do.
Yeah.
It's just that the most popular ones do it.
I mean, like the AAA rated titles.
Because I'm thinking the only ones that I've bought recently that don't is God of War. Like Assassin's Creed did, Spider-Man did. Of course, like all the ones like Fortnite have to because they're ongoing games.
Yeah, but you're playing the largest titles available. You're not playing anything made by a smaller
studio. But I feel like Kingdom Hearts is in that will be in that category.
It took them this long to make a game. Are you afraid that the DLCs are not going to...
the mouse is going to want some more money, Dave. Okay. And if they see it,
another 20
they're going to cash in now.
He's going to want it in 20 years.
All right, that's fair. So,
but with that being said, I'm glad Kingdom Hearts is finally going to maybe come out in 2019.
It is going to come out in 2019. When in 2019, we don't know for sure.
January 25th. Boys.
Cross your fingers that that's the date.
Yeah.
That doesn't get pushed back to February.
We're getting pretty close to where it'd be a tough thing to push back at this point.
Yep. So, very excited about that one. I just need a minute to rant about my Borderlands.
Okay.
Because y'all hating on my Borderlands.
Dave's going to buy a PlayStation VR.
Nearly
just
did it.
To play.
Nearly did the PlayStation VR for Borderlands 2.
I've seen a lot of those commercials, by the way, for Christmas
It's a good commercial. It's a good commercial. I actually want to hear like what people say about it first. But no, Borderlands 3. Think about this. We have one of the best first-person shooters with a unique artwork style to it, great writing behind it, and absolutely enthralling gameplay because they have that eye magic on the screen where it's just like there's enough explosions, the color, the palette, all the actions going on. The enemies have a decent enough AI to them, and as you go through the game and progress, the game gets harder. It's exactly what you want. I don't want to go through a game and feel weak at the beginning and like a god at the end. I want to be challenged constantly throughout, and that's the one thing that I give credit to Borderlands 4 is Borderlands 3, but I give them credit for doing this. And that's engaging that separate game mode. You go through, you play 1 to 30 in Borderlands 2, for example, and you beat the game in normal mode. Okay, great. Turn up a notch now. Let's play a little bit harder. Let's make things a little more challenging. And you get to go deeper in your character because the whole time you're building out, like, how do I want to play this character? There's different trees, there's different skills for you to pick from, and that does vastly change your gameplay. And you can kind of change that as you go to fit your current missions or current point in the game, which is amazing. And then you get to the best part about it, online play. When you play with a group of friends online in Borderlands 2 or
just
Borderlands pre-sequel, I'm building.
Okay.
I'm building. I'm riding the hype train up the hill. We're just
we're getting ready to go down that coast.
Not quite there yet.
Okay.
So when you play online with your friends, it's awesome because you all get to experience the same thing together. But it's that loot grind. It's the quest for the epics, the legendary weapons. It's all that kind of fun into it. But you also get to laugh through a lot of the storyline with them, and that.
But still young.
It's one of the things that I crave in my game is multiplayer. It's that experience, that connection, because I enjoy games more when I'm experiencing it with someone else. And that's one of the things that I really drive to Borderlands for because, like Ricky mentioned, even with random players. I've gone on sessions where I'm like, I'm just playing with you for like 4 hours tonight. All right, hey, I'm going to add you. We'll be back. We'll pick this up, a little bit later, next day, whatever. And like, it's so easy in that game. And that's one of the things that, from a matchmaking standpoint, I think Borderlands hit on really well. And they were ahead of the curve in Borderlands 2 on this. And then I feel like so many games since then, like Destiny, just whiffed hard on that, like from a matchmaking standpoint. So I'm really intrigued by what they can do for Borderlands 3 to continue to build on that. And now we're getting new classes. We're going to get a Beastmaster in the game, which is pretty crazy sounding because you get to choose between 3 different beasts that you control. But he's supposed to be dressed up like a homeless robot, which already I'm like, yeah, that sounds dope. You get a melee. What was it? Hang on, what was it? It was a melee siren, perhaps melee geared siren, which is intriguing.
We've only had female sirens at this point, right?
Yes. So no, I think that look, they've got an awesome universe. We're going to new planets now, new gear. Hopefully Jack's in it still. That's just the voice of him. I don't care if he actually shows up. But yeah, like I feel like that's a universe where I got invested in, and like they made it silly. You get to play as Claptrap, You get to play as a freaking little dumpster robot and go around and do crazy shit.
He's been my favorite in the whole thing.
I think
it's
it's
just comic relief.
It is. And like it's a great balance because you get emotionally invested in it easily because the characters are so likable. But then at the same time, they just pull the rug out on you sometimes. And you're like, oh, I'm devastated right now.
I will never forget the half pissed, half not pissed.
Yeah.
I was finishing Borderlands 1.
Yeah.
Where like you get to the end and you're like, holy shit, that monster was amazing. And then the story ends and you're like, wait, there was no vault? What the hell is this shit? Where it's like, I was kind of mad, but I couldn't be mad because that last fight was like challenging, and holy shit, that monster we just fought in this tundra trying to get to the vault.
No, and that's the thing. So like, and they do DLCs well. They continue the story with these like one-off shots. The thing that I'm most concerned for is to make sure there is plenty to do at end game in this game. And I kind of hope that they do more like, 4-man like dungeons kind of thing, where you really do get a different experience
instances.
out of it. Yeah, I don't know if it necessarily needs to be an instancing thing because obviously the way they could totally instance it actually. The way the world's split up in Borderlands, I could see it working out really well for them. So that's my sales pitch. It's going to be dope. It's going to be one of the best online games. Hopefully it comes out this year. And I'm going to make this man buy it, whether he wants to or not.
You will.
There you go.
I hope you would decide to play it if you like it and if you have time.
Mark's that married man. He don't got time.
You got
for
that busy life. That's fair. That's fair.
Borderlands always reminds me of another game, Bulletstorm, which like I remember at E3 watching it and being like, "This looks awesome! Like this is just another version of Borderlands, basically." And I bought it, I played it for a little bit, and that game it was a fine game, but like it kind of flopped at the same time because it was just kind of like. This isn't Borderlands, basically. But yeah, super cool. Is that Borderlands? Because there's only one game we didn't mention so far.
Well, only you and I can talk about if it's the game I'm thinking of.
No, Mark has Starfield.
Yeah,
okay.
Starfield's
So
on
let's
there.
get Anthem out of the way and just say I played Anthem.
You
and
can't
then
talk
I can't
about
now.
it.
No, we can't talk about Anthem.
I can't talk about Anthem.
He can't because he played it. We did.
I'm legally obligated to say I played Anthem.
Yeah. Starfield, I'm really excited about. I don't really give a fuck about Anthem, to be honest.
I just want to play in the mech suit thing. Like
I love
that's
mechs.
the thing that I can't.
Mechs
like
is the shit.
The
but
different kinds
are
of
the
suits.
shit.
And Dave, don't talk. Dave, don't
Hey,
talk. You can't.
in Borderlands, the soldier throws down a mech
There you
to
go.
fight with you. So
And in the past
Appreciate
ones
it.
he's had, my favorite was the
He had the-
shield
he had
that he
shield.
puts in front of him.
he's had a shield, he's had a turret. This one will be a mech.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I
Love
just,
mechs.
for me, everything I've seen from Anthem, and I watched, it was kind of funny, did like a showcase, and they had a developer talk about it. Him go over the trailer that they did from the Game Awards. I was like, all right, I'm fully in on Anthem because you talked a little bit more about the story, and it sounds like a story that I could get into with a baddie that sounds like I can get into going up against this bad guy. So I've said the Anthem stuff because Dave can't. Go with Starfield.
Yeah.
Starfield? Is that it?
Yeah, Starfield. And the one thing I'll just add to Anthem is just a game like that makes me nervous because the Division wasn't good. Destiny always gets
Well,
trashed.
the Division 2 almost made it on my list.
Yeah. I say the Division 1 wasn't terrible. They just hit that endgame wall where a lot of players were looking for something to challenge them, and there wasn't
not
really
much
a
to
reason
do.
to keep going.
And people are thinking that Division 2 is going to be, hey, we learned from our mistakes.
Yeah.
Division would have been such a cool just single player game. It really would have. It would have been a great single player game, and they didn't go that direction. And to move over to Starfield, though, I mean, we don't know a ton about it yet. But what we do know is, of course, being made by Bethesda, which at the moment is now not a good thing, apparently, with Fallout 76. But with that being said, I trust them on this one because Fallout 76 felt like hey, let's just try this. Almost like a cash grab, where this is one of those games where they've said, we've been thinking about, talking about, and working on this game very quietly for a long time. And I believe the copyright happened for it, or our trademark happened for the name in like 2013. So it's been a long process for this one, and they've said when they've been talking about Elder Scrolls 6, which is not going to be coming out in this one in 2019, that they're like, that game is not playable yet. Starfield is playable. Like, you could play this game right now, but we're still working on it. And that makes me really excited. The fact to have I'm hoping another RPG, because that's what they do very well in space. Mass Effect was an awesome experience to go through. I'm hoping to have something like that, but a little bit more open, big universe world.
Yeah.
And it could totally be awesome. I love space, so that works out for me. As you can see, as I got Star Wars on there too.
Well, and you also were a guy that, out of this table, the only one that played No Man's Sky too.
Yep.
When it first came out.
Yeah.
Yep.
I watched No Man's Sky. I knew many friends who played No Man's Sky, and I'm glad I didn't invest my money into No Man's Sky.
After a while, like once they made all their changes and stuff like that, it was cool.
I just remember you talking about it on release night or on release day, because we did an onside kick that day.
Well, no, because I didn't play it then. I didn't play it until the next day.
Oh, okay. Then it had to be we recorded on the next day or something.
Yeah, I mean I could be remembering wrong. I don't know.
Because I just remember you came into that podcast not really happy about that game.
No, I wouldn't have had enough time to play it. But it might have been like maybe the next week or something like that. Because like I remember for a while I was playing it in the morning before going to work, and I was like, all right, I'm kind of having fun. I'm just kind of cruising around. And it's like, all right, well, I'm just still kind of cruising around. Right. There's not really much for me to do right now. And I don't expect Starfield to be like that. So I'm excited.
No, that's dope. We pretty much run through the entirety of our list at this point. I want to thank you all for listening. Thank you so much. It's been a boiling hour plus episode.
I hope you're sweating along with us right now.
I was actually right before you wrap up.
Yeah.
I know you wanted to save yours. I can't save this one. One that almost beat out Mortal Kombat. Rage 2. That was one that I've seen way long ago,
awesome.
like the trailer. And it looked kind of cool, and I was like, I've lost hype for it.
I'm schmeh on that. There was a couple ones that were interesting. There was a JRPG. I'm just going now because now I can't. There's a JRPG, Dark Souls, basically. I don't remember the name, but it's out there. If you literally type in JRPG Dark Souls, you'll find
Ricky's about to do it.
I think I almost had that on my list too.
Looks great. Neo 2 is coming out, and there is Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, yeah. That one was
I can't get the word right because obviously I'm not looking at it. But yeah, those three are out there, hyped. But Doom, honestly, the sequel to Doom.
Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Doom was one of those games where I flipped on and I watched someone play through the entire game and I didn't expect to. It was one of those, I was like, it's Doom. I'm going to... I know exactly what it is.
Oh, it's 5 o'clock
in the morning. Second screen. Yeah, I was second screen it to start, and then it just became my only screen. And then I just watched. And I was like, it was really fun gameplay. And I think Doom knows exactly what it is. And that's why I hope that they deliver this one just as well.
Is it Sekiro Shadows Die Twice?
No.
Okay.
That's the serious version of Dark Souls.
Because that's the one
but
I
Japanese,
looked up. Yeah. And I was like, maybe. And then it didn't go on my list.
I'll give 2 honorable mention shout-outs. One, Final Fantasy VII, the remake. I know that Ricky had this comment about remakes, but
never gonna happen.
It would be cool if it did. And then the other one, Metro Exodus. You get to finally go above ground in this one. It's gonna be awesome. And those games are awesome, but they're super. I shouldn't say they're super unloved or anything like that. They just not enough people play them.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. All right, let's end the episode on that high note.
I was going to say you didn't find the name
I'm
of it.
still looking and I'm stalling.
It's all right. Comment sections can figure it out.
I can keep stalling.
Comment sections can figure it out.
Soapy Muffin's got our back.
Yeah. So check it out. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, so much for listening. We really appreciate it. If you could check us out on iTunes, give us that 5-star rating. It really helps us grow. It really helps us continue to get better and make more content for you guys. I'm Dave Oster. That's Mark Weber. Ricky Widmer. Thank you so much.
It's balls hot in here.